everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shoe Podcast, the only sneaker podcast that is now wearing a Fitbit. I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
Ooh, we tracking steps. I'm your co-host, Tanner Young.
Hit 10K today. I got it on lock. I'm locked down.
That is insanity. A work from home boy hitting 10K steps. I mean, just setting the bar high.
Get a dog. Get a dog, ladies and gentlemen. That's my only advice I can give you. Get a dog, walk it twice a day.
Okay, I was about to say you hit the double
today.
Up today?
I would not normally hit 10K in a day, but I did 2 walks with her today. We do a mile every time, so
shoo.
Steps, getting steps.
How's your sleep? Tracking your sleep?
Sleep's going decent. I'd like to get closer to 7 or 8. And I think from when I go to bed to when I wake up, listener, we're going to talk about shoes eventually. When there'll be a timestamp down below for those of you that are like, what the hell are they doing? There's a timestamp for when we actually start. I'd like to be closer to 7 to 8. And I think like if I were tracking it without the Fitbit from like head hits pillow, eyes closed to when I wake up in the morning, it might be 7 or 8. But the stats telling me of like how much sleep I actually got when you were awake in there has been closer to like 6.5. So, but I feel well rested. I think some people sometimes with like the Apple Watch or like different smart watches or things like that, that'll give you like your readiness score for the day and it'll be like 70. And then you'll be like, well, I was feeling good, but if I'm only at 70, it's like, no, don't let the watch gaslight you into like how you're actually feeling. Like if you feel ready to start your day, go start your day, you know?
Yeah. You check your watch and it's like, no, you are depressed. It's like, oh man.
If I was already feeling it, it's reassuring to know that biometrically I am depressed as well. Yeah. But if I wasn't, it's like, well, hang on, now I might be. I don't know if I am or not. Yeah.
This oatmeal's not going to taste as good now. Extra scoop of brown sugar.
Normally at the beginning of the show, we would say, how are you? How were you? How was your past weekend? But we hung out this past weekend, so we know how we did.
Yeah.
We went to a little parade.
That's true.
We had some fun.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. We stayed earlier in the route this year. This was the second time that Ashley and I have gone to the Spanish Town parade.
Mm-hmm.
And this year doing it with y'all compared to the first time we did. Yeah, we definitely stayed more like towards the beginning in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I loved it so much more. I don't know about y'all, but we
had a great spot.
I love that, like that close, the neighborhood kind of feel. It was nice. I really enjoyed it.
We lucked out to get the spot we did for the time that we showed up at the parade. Yeah.
Yeah. And then shout out to you for driving. Cause let me tell you what,
them
streets were already tiny. And then you have like cars just
piled up,
hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Just parked on the side. And it really is just like, I guess everyone in Baton Rouge either does not have insurance or has phenomenal car insurance.
There's no in between. There's no room for gray. It's one end of the spectrum or the other. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Not at all.
Well, let's jump into today's episode. So we wanted to talk about the body of work of one Salehe Bembury. You and I have been not shy about being fans of his work here on the show for many years now. And with the upcoming release of the 991 V2 Colors Be the Palette, his latest upcoming collaboration with New Balance, we thought, what more appropriate time to look back at his body of work, rank them all on a tier list, give you our thoughts and opinions here.
Beautiful.
Real quick disclaimer right here at the top of the show. We are starting from the first New Balance collaboration in 2020 forward, and we're not including the Puma work that has not yet released. So that means we are not including his work with Skechers, Cole Haan, Yeezy, or Versace. Right at first when I was putting this together, I thought maybe we'll start with the Versace chain reaction, but then like, I'm glad he has it. He has on his website his body of work, and I don't know if he's updated it in a while. I think it goes like newest to oldest, so you can see the new stuff is kind of like 2020-ish, like the New Balance collab and the stuff with ANTA. Here's everything prior to 2020. So listeners out there who are like, the thumbnail, the title is clickbait, you're not actually doing every Salehe sneaker. We don't want to do a 4-hour podcast. We don't want to do a 5-hour. No. Look, it's still going. You thought I was just doing the bit. It's still going. So we would be here all night if we chose to do that. So we're not. We're going to just start with the more recent stuff. And quite frankly, sneakerheads, this is the stuff you actually care about and like.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Just putting that out there.
You're not looking at dress shoes.
Yeah. So for the audio listeners, it's a very visuals heavy episode. We're going to do as best we can to describe each sneaker we're talking about as we go. Once we get to the end, we will do a recap of where our tier list ended up top to bottom. This is a larger tier list than we would normally do, not in terms of the dimensions on the screen. That's the same size, but the number of shoes on the list, that is much longer. So we thought we would have fun. We would make it a challenge. We don't want to hold everyone up here all night. There are 16 sneakers on this list. Bear with us for a second. We are going to do each sneaker from introduction to on the tier list in 3 minutes. Each one 3 minutes. TikTok brain rotters rejoice. We got you on this one. We're going to go fast. There's a tier list. There's 2 videos and there's like a visual up here. So that's a lot of like visual stimulation. But if you want to pull up Subway Surfers on the other screen as well, you can.
Fair. Yeah, exactly.
And to hold us accountable, Tanner's got the stopwatch.
Boom.
Tanner will be timing us. And so every shoe, 3 minutes from start to end. If we get to 2 minutes, 40 seconds, and we haven't made a decision, decisions will have to be made. And if this is your first tier list episode of ours that you're catching, Tanner and I ultimately have to agree on where the shoe goes on the list. We're not each making our own. We are making one joint one.
Yikes.
Before we jump and launch in, looking at 16 sneakers here, do you have any that you were like, die hard, this has got to go in this tier, whether that's like all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, stuff that you are passionate, ready to go to battle for?
Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of this is I do think we're going to agree on a lot of this stuff. If anything, I feel like the battle is going to be me lowering you.
I was just about to say the battle really here is who can stand harder. At this point,
I think that's what it's gonna be. I think for the most part, we're gonna agree on everything. There may be a couple. I know for sure one of these that I'm gonna be like, I think it's gonna probably be. It's gonna.
He's ready.
I'm glad we had fun this weekend. Is what I'm saying.
He's ready to have a tough conversation. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Shall we?
And first you go.
Okay. We're going to talk fast. First shoe that we've got from 2020 here, the first collaboration with New Balance, the 2002 R Peace Be the Journey. This is the orange one with the suede all over it, the real thick mesh, and like the light blue New Balance N on the side of it. When these first came out, and for the longest time, admittedly not the biggest fan of them, all orange suede shoe, just not something I could see myself wearing that much. Really recently, as I've become more of a Salehe fan, but really specifically today, just seeing the campaign photos and seeing the box they come with, this is going to be a recurring theme for a lot of the New Balance stuff. Once you see the marketing that goes with it and you're like, oh, I see now where the color palette is coming from, being a big national parks vacation guy, I'm getting a little bit more sucked into it. Where do you stand on these?
I essentially agree with you. Being an all primarily just one color shoe is really tough for me to get behind. I do like the different materials and the different shades. It does break it up. I think the blue hits really good on that orange.
Yeah.
I think the speckled sole midsole with this one works really well. Again, seeing all the promo pictures, having it be more of this like outdoorsy kind of shoe. I like that detail to it because it is like, hey, we've got to pre-dirty them.
Yeah, that's true.
So I do really like that. Even on like the bottom of the shoe, it being brown. I do think that is really, really good. I think this is a pretty shoe. Okay. I am a big fan of like the thick mesh, that deep mesh. Again, I think it adds a lot of dimension to the shoe. I've really liked what New Balance has done overall. This
is nerve-wracking because I can't see the timer. So I'm like, is he going too long or are we still good on time here?
You'll never know.
You're not, when do I get the warning that how far out from time do I get the warning?
How much time do you want out?
I feel like 30 seconds. If we haven't at least started to put it on the board, we should.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's start talking about putting it on the board.
For me, above C tier, below S tier. A or B?
I was thinking B tier. B tier.
I think B tier is a solid start for these.
Okay. And hey, look at that. We're 30 seconds.
We're going to save that. Actually, no, hit the lap button and we'll hold each one to 30. Go. Okay. To 3, I mean. And we reserve the right at the end of this to move stuff around as we see fit. Okay. Next one up, the work with ANTA, 2 collaborations on the SBO1 and the SBO2, which I can only assume stands for Salehe Bembury. This was also in 2020. The 01 is the high top. Right now you're seeing the 02. That's the low top. That's the 01. That's the high top. Really funky stuff here with like all these bubbles on them. ANTA, a tough one to begin with because just it's not an unpopular sneaker brand in the way that like Skechers or Crocs for the long time was unpopular of like disliked. It's just not a popular sneaker brand in the fact that like they're not really that, you're not seeing them a lot. A lot of retailers here aren't carrying them, I don't think. So you're just not getting that much exposure to them. But for someone like Salehe, that can work to his advantage a lot. They'll give him more creative freedom to do what he wants because they don't have, you know, they got less to lose, I guess maybe is a way of putting it. So he really took a swing at these. They're pretty out there. For me, this is a little too far gone for me. The Swiss cheese on the side here. The real big rope laces. I don't know. Just don't hate it. Don't love it. Would go lower on my tier list. What about you?
I think that outsole, that real kind of like big block, kind of like look to it on the bottom of the shoe. I'm not a big fan of. Like you said, again, that kind of like, I guess, shell over the whole shoe, having that like Swiss cheese look is odd. I like the rope laces. I really like the look of the midsole.
It's funky.
It is definitely not something that I would really ever look to pick up. Especially like that high top. I like the high top just based on the colorway for it rather than the low top. Like this one's not bad.
Yeah.
With the yellow and black with the blue. That being said, E tier?
You said E like elephant?
A D.
Okay, gotcha. I lost you for a second there, just in the connection.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think D tier is fine for now. I could see them potentially moving lower later, but these are definitely below the average of C tier for me as well.
Lap button.
Next up, this is in 2021, the New Balance 2002R Water Be the Guide. So for a lot of these, like the ANTA stuff, we lumped the SBO1 to the SBO2 in one category. So you'd be like, why did you not lump the 2002Rs in one category? You leave a comment down below if you want to hear us talk about ANTA sneakers for longer than 3 minutes, and maybe we'll do it, okay? We know what the people want. The deep blue, kind of greenish blue actually, suede on them with the dark green accent against them. The little pop of brown in there as well. Another funky colorway, a little bit more contrasty than the first one, Peace Be the Journey. Again, at the time these came out, I was like, that is way too out there. That's not for me. I think even still, Peace Be the Journey a little more my speed. But when you see the box with it, and you're like, okay, hang on, that's a good looking shoe. So I don't know. I could see these going a little bit closer to the middle of the list for me. Where do they fall for you?
I think middle of the list is probably where I would go with them for sure. Just that green. I'm not a huge fan of the colors. The box is very pretty. The box is very pretty.
Wear the box, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. For me, I feel like these are C tier. Okay. With what we have on the list, I think I like C tier right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on how the list shakes out, I could see these moving. But I think right now, I like that like orangish colorway. I would rock that one over this blue one, and it's obviously better than
a low bar
Swiss cheese look. That Swiss cheese look.
I will.
So I think C tier is a good spot so far.
A recurring theme we're going to see here in the New Balance work, kind of one general tonal color palette for the majority of the shoe, and then like some random slam accent of color in there, which does kind of surprisingly still work. Like it throws it a little further from a normal comfort zone, but it's not so complete much that it ruins the shoe, my opinion.
Fair. No, I agree.
How are we doing on time?
Oh, we're doing great on time.
Okay. We got time to spare?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot of time to spare.
Oh, okay. Where are we at?
Already hit the lap button. So, if anything,
come on.
If anything, we're down.
Come on. You got to keep me up to speed on these things. Okay. The New Balance
next shoes on the cycle. We're moving.
Okay. Well, it wasn't on the screen yet. The New Balance 574 Yurt. These released in 2021.
Yurt.
5 colorways. Yurt me. 5 colorways that came out on this one, and I feel like there's some neutral stuff and there's some wild stuff in there. So they've already been kind of scrolling over our heads as we speak here. The majority of them have, that big, thick, hairy suede that we've come to know from the Salehe New Balance collaborations. But the real standout feature on these is a whistle on the back of the shoe right above the heel that is functional. You can go ahead and whistle out of it.
Twins rejoice.
I know. I love that they did the classic gray colorway on these as well. It's a little bit different for Salehe at this time, like for how he's established himself as like bright, vibrant color palette guy. So to do one in classic gray is kind of a fun nod to like the heritage of New Balance. The 574, not my favorite silhouette, probably in general, like it less than the 2002 R. But the Yurt and the whistle on the back, like such a fun creative twist, bumps this one up on the list for me. So this one, while practically I would not want to wear it as much as I would maybe some of the other stuff on here, just the novelty and the fun of it really kind of speaks to me.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I will say that. It is fun.
Uh-oh.
It is also very ugly.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Whistle now, aside, like if it had no whistle, would still be ugly, or the whistle is what is the straw that broke the camel's back for you?
No, I like the whistle. It's the weird, like, it's just a 574. It's just that, like, along that midsole, that like
the midsole is the hurdle you got to get over here. Yeah.
Yeah. I think some colorways look really good. On the silhouette. I do like the classic, like
it
New
looks
Balance
so good.
Gray.
Yeah.
I think it looks really great. I do really like that. I think probably my favorite one's the white and pink.
The Frieza.
I think it looks really nice. I almost want to, you tell me where you got this.
I think C tier is reasonable. I think it's reasonable. I think if you want to put it in D, we got to move the ANTAs down to E. I would like it in C. I would like it in C. You're not willing to give it C?
No. It's got to go to D.
We're going to argue for this later.
That's okay.
I'm respecting the time right now.
We're going over on time right now, but we have a lot of time on the previous shoe. So we're good. We're good.
Okay. The net is good. The net result. Okay. Lap.
Okay.
The big one, ladies and gentlemen, the one that brought you here, the one that you know about, 2021, the Crocs Pollex Clog. More colorways than anyone can count. This thing has done every color under the rainbow here, and still, as they release the new ones, they fly off the shelves. They're not selling out and reselling for the crazy way that they were, like when they, like the first 3 years of this shoe were insane to get them. Now it's a little bit more reasonable for a lot of the colorways. But man, what a shoe. I mean, this is what made Crocs cool again, to sneakerheads at least.
Oh, easy.
This is what did it.
Easy.
What more can you say? This is what got me to wear Crocs.
Yeah. I mean, there really is no conversation about this one. I mean, it's an easy, everyone knows where it's going to go. There's only one place for it. Exactly. I mean, like you said, they took Crocs to the next level. You know what I mean? And Crocs has been trying to do that. You know, they had with Post Malone. They're
trying to find the stride. Yeah,
biggest names. And then, I mean, they just let Salehe just do.
They let him cook
phenomenal things. And obviously, Crocs has just seen a huge boom. They look so sick. Like I said, they come in a bunch of different colorways. You got a really great clog, which again is great. It is something very comfortable, but also is very stylish. It looks very cool.
Yep.
I think it's the same thing why people liked the Yeezy foam runners. It's the exact same thing. Cool. This is something like Crocs that I can wear, but to me, it's cool. It looks stylish. I can still make an outfit, but just throw something on. This is Crocs' answer to that. I think better, but than the foam runners. But
okay. Not a bad take. Not a bad take.
I think probably a lot of people, maybe even now, would agree.
Well, I hope so now. Just
fingers crossed.
If you're separating the art from the artist, then maybe not. But
yeah,
if you're putting the two together, all right, let's keep it moving.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
I don't want the comments to get too spicy. Now moving on to 2022, Salehe Bembury and Brandblack, which a brand I'm not familiar with outside of this collaboration, but did two different colorways here. I could not find the name of this silhouette. They were just like Salehe Bembury 4 Brandblack, but two colorways, an olive one and a tan navy one. I like would you call it the cage, maybe? The squiggly shapes that come up over the foot there. I like that style to it. The midsole, it's kind of weird to see such a chunky midsole with such kind of minimal design to it. Like, especially now that we've come to know Salehe for like the fingerprint from the outsole wrapping up over the midsole. And this is around that time he started to do it with the clogs, but to see kind of like a plain midsole looks a little almost out of place.
Fair.
And still a very multicolored color palette in both colorways, but not as vibrant and saturated on the colors, like more muted blues and reds and greens and yellows on these.
Good point.
Your thoughts?
I agree. The weird thing is that midsole, it is very chunky, and it just kind of like towards the heel of the shoe, it just keeps getting chunkier and chunkier. Mm-hmm. Almost just seems like it's supposed to be like a lift or something like that. I like and don't like the cage.
The jellyfish.
On these. Yeah. This one is tough for me.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I would buy these.
Yeah, me either.
Like I wouldn't want these at all. So for me, probably D tier.
I think D tier is good. For me, these go behind the 574 Yurt, even within D tier.
Yes.
Which may lead later to shifting things around in the tiers. But I just want to call out that they're on the same row right now. And typically we don't do a like left to right is like a better to worst or whatever.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think not as bad as the ANTAs.
No.
Not as good as the Yurts.
It's like a D minus.
Yeah, so
it's like a D minus.
I don't know if it warrants ANTAs moving to F tier and moving these into E tier just yet, but we're going to see how the rest of the list shakes out here.
I agree.
Moving on, also in 2022, Salehe Bembury and Vans Authentic. 3 different colorways here, a brown, a pink, and then like a green and blue. Pretty simple, not like a lot of change to the shape or the silhouette that much. Really just his fingerprint style as a pattern on the upper of the shoe. In some pretty, relatively to the rest of the list here stuff, minimal colorways. So I kind of like these. Vans, a more casual everyday shoe than maybe, certainly the Yurt, but even the 2002 R and the Brandblack and the ANTA stuff. Like, these are definitely a lot more toned down if you want something you can wear a lot more regularly, but also still kind of get, pun intended, the Salehe Bembury fingerprint touch on these.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I think I like that. I think that's why I like these. This is definitely a more, from obviously what we've seen of Salehe and his works, definitely a more tame look, but I think way easier to wear. And again, it's not as much as the Crocs, but I think it's something where it's like I can wear something more casual, but it's still like slightly elevated because it has a collaborator to it who does have that artistic touch and things like that. And just because it's such an easy shoe and an easy silhouette of it being Vans, makes me want to throw it to B tier.
I feel C tier. I just think I think it's good. I think it's fine, but I also think it's a pattern and a colorway. It's just for what he did on the 2002 R, even both of them. I think there's a lot more. It seems like there's more creativity coming through on both of those than these. It seems it's a little bit more simple. Admit that's a take. That's a way to do it, but it just kind of feels like it doesn't feel as special to me.
Oh, fair. Okay.
C-tier? He'll take it.
I could be okay with C tier.
All right. Moving on. That brings us to the end of 2022 here. New Balance 990 V2 Sand Be the Time. This is like the all pink suede one with like the thicker mesh, which is like a dark orange or a dark pink, with the purple accents. Thundercat was in the marketing campaign for this one. What more do you need to say? This was probably the first Salehe New Balance that when it came out, I was like, yeah, I kind of feel this for myself, but not so much that I want to get, because again, all pink suede shoes still going to be kind of a tougher wear, but I don't know, something about, maybe it's the shape of the 990 V2 as well, kind of having like, it doesn't feel as long. It feels a little bit more sporty and pointed to it. And something about like this all pink, I don't know, just something about this one resonated with me more when it first came out. What do you feel?
Interesting. Again, like it is tough. Like I said, it's hard for me to get behind a single kind of like color palette. Again, yes, we do have the materials breaking up and the different shades, which is nice.
Do you need me to grab a picture of the box? I can grab a picture of the box if you need a picture of the box.
As someone who throws away boxes, it might harm.
You've turned a leaf. I know you've changed somewhat deep down in that heart of yours. If you saw this box, you would not.
Yeah. I do like the silhouette.
Okay. All right.
But the silhouette is not necessarily Salehe.
Was that B?
That is more New
for
Balance.
butt? For B tier?
That was definitely not B.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Talk to me.
To me, C tier. And if anything, C minus.
Worse than the Vans?
No, I would wear the Vans over. I would wear the Vans over these.
Oh, so it is worse than the
yes,
Vans.
it is worse than the Vans. Yes, I would wear the Vans over these. I think you like Thundercat in a box. I don't think you like.
I do like Thundercat in a box, and I do also like the shoe. Not enough to buy them and wear them. The Vans is certainly something I would wear more, but I feel like I appreciate these more. I'm not going to go on the record saying I don't like Thundercat in a box.
Yeah, I just don't see what Salehe did with this. You know what I mean?
He did the campaign. And he did the shoe as well. I mean, you look at the New Balances on these, and aside from one, maybe two, he's got a style of designing with New Balance, which is like one predominant shade of color palette for the majority of it, and then accent color. Yeah. That is what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, that's 3 minutes, so time for the next shoe.
Okay. See, this is why we're coming back to that one at the end. Moving into 2023 here, Salehe Bembury and Clocks. That was Clarks and Crocs at the same time, but this is actually Clarks. On a silhouette, I believe called the Lugger, not the Wallaby here. 3 different colorways. There's a brown one, a red one with a blue accent, and then a green one as well, which there it is. Green with the pink with like the salmon accent. A wild take for the Clarks. Like the Clarks Wallaby to me is like the staple, like I need a dress shoe, but I'm a sneakerhead and I want everyone to know that I'm a sneakerhead still. And so Salehe working on it, like I think the accent on the toe pushes it just one little bit outside of like, yeah, I could still get away with wearing these to like most events outside of maybe the brown ones, because the brown ones are still pretty muted.
Yeah.
But like the red and the green, I don't know. I have trouble like seeing the audience for like who's wearing Clarks, but not for the more like dressed up occasions, not full suit, obviously, but you know, like the dress casual. But I need like still the fun pop of color, but I'm not going all the way to sneakers. It just kind of feels like a weird in between.
I agree. The greens is too much Patrick Star. I cannot get away from it. That's fair. All I see.
Now I'm seeing Mr. Krabs in the red. The red and the blue.
There you go. Yeah. I agree. I think the brown one is definitely the better. The simple one. Think it would be like, I think, if you're the type of person who's going to maybe like, you know, a lot of like restaurant openings, things like that, where you're going to be wearing some like chinos or something,
yeah.
Then yeah, I get. But you're also like, I want people to know that I'm into like
I got
sneakers
Salehe.
and fashion.
Right.
I agree. I don't necessarily know who is specifically being like, I want Clarks and also in that area.
Yeah.
I ruffled feathers with the last one. I'll let you start.
I'm still salty.
Yeah.
I say D tier. I feel like not something I love, but I don't dislike it as much as the ANTA. So
I like that.
D tier.
I like D tier.
D tier. Do we want to get nitpicky right now? Do you want to put them above the Brandblack but below the Yurts?
No, I think I think D tier is
worse than the Brandblacks.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
again. This is like a dress shoe. How often are you wearing dress shoes? But also that.
Well, I'm not trying to score so much on my personal wearability. Just it's more of a if I'm liking it and appreciate it, and I feel like I appreciate that more.
Well, that's 3 minutes. So next shoe.
You're loving this theme a little too much. It was supposed to be a fun, jokey thing, but he's leaning into it as a way to shut me up over here. All right. Moving on, the Moncler Genius Trailgrip. I think this one came out in 3 colorways that we've got here. A more greenish one, that kind of tannish and brownish one, and then like a more yellowish one there. These are kind of crazy. This looks like we're bringing ACG into the mix almost, but you still got kind of like almost like corduroy touches on the tongue here. I like the different style on. It's not the midsole, but kind of like the vamp around the toe there. It's kind of got like that topography map thing more so than like the fingerprint thing.
But also still fingerprinty.
But then between those, you kind of have like that same shape of pattern, but not like repeated so many times, just kind of like outlines in the middle there. Is Gore-Tex certified on the side of the shoe here.
Come on.
Certainly these being Moncler, far outside of my income bracket. But a pretty shoe. This is a pretty good looking shoe.
I will definitely agree with you on that one. This one is very pretty. I really like it. Especially that like yellow with kind of like that like salmon pink. Which unfortunately we kind of just get like that one kind of close up shot of it.
Yeah.
But man, I do really like this. I love the design to it. It seems like it is like they made the shoe and then they added another like
to the bottom of
midsole.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm sure it's a comfy shoe.
I'm sure it is.
I really like this one. I'll be honest. I do really like this one. I could put this in B tier.
I think B tier could work for this one. Yeah. I think I like the silhouette of this one, especially because I think this, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if this is a new silhouette or not. Like, I don't know if Salehe did this silhouette or did more so the colorway on it. But maybe I'm getting just a little bit this far into the episode, a little New Balance fatigue, and I'm like, something else, breath of fresh air.
Yeah. It could also be.
Now let me ask you, I meant to, you can lap time if you're not, we're not moving to the next sneaker yet. This is just a little bit of banter, break it up, a little intermission here. We're a little bit more than halfway into the list. Have we got to the one yet that you thought you would have to talk me down on, or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Okay. I have a pretty good idea. I just wanted to see if we were there yet.
Okay. Not. Yeah.
It was, just to be clear, it was not Sand Be the Time. It was not the Pink 99. You just did that one to do that one. Okay. That's fine.
That one.
Okay. He just did that one to did that one, ladies and gentlemen.
Just did it.
Okay. Moving on. 2024, man, last year was packed. The New Balance 1906R Heat Be Hot Pack. These came out at the beginning of the year. 2 colorways. There was Magma, which is what we're seeing right here on the screen, aka Spider-Man, the red and the blue one. And then there was Lava, which was like the gradient one from yellow to red, but with like the blue on the sock liner and the bright silver metallic overlay over the top. Y2K runners are back, ladies and gentlemen.
That was last year.
I feel like people kind of ate these up when they came out, and then at the end of the year, when it came time for everyone to do sneaker of the year, no one was talking about this one again. And I don't know if that's because heat was hot and the heat died out, or if because no one remembered, like people just got so far in the year and they forgot what came out at the beginning of the year. But neither of these are for me. I know the internet loved these when they were first announced, but neither of these have been for me.
I like the gradient. Like with the you said that was the lava.
On the lava, yeah.
I do like it. The Y2K runner, like that like metallic look was very, very popular last year. But I think that was just a trend of 2024. I don't really think that that's going to be a big thing that we're going to continue seeing. I think it was a thing. People really liked it. They bought it. And I think they just don't really like that aesthetic as much as I think they do. I think like there is that nostalgia. I think like you like it and then you reflect on a couple years later and you're like, yeah, that was just that moment.
I think we're still in the Y2K runner resurgence boom right now, but I think you're right that in a couple years it's a current trend that is going to taper off.
Yeah.
But it's still going right now, I think. Yeah.
I think specifically that metallic version of the Y2K.
Okay.
I agree. These aren't bad.
Yeah.
But they're nothing, I guess, special to me.
Okay.
C or D is kind of where I'm in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's negotiations time here.
Whoa.
I think I want the Sand be the Times in B tier.
Oh God.
And I would be happy with these in E tier. So I will let you choose. You keep Sam be the Time in C tier, and these have to move to E tier, or you let Sam be the Time move up to B tier, and these can go to D tier if you want them there.
They go to E tier.
These go to E tier? Fine by me.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine by me. No metallic silver. Oh, frozen?
Yeah.
Back. Okay.
Oh.
You're good. We got you. We lost you for a second there, but we got you again.
AT&T.
The big one, not the big one, the Pollex Clog was the big one, but the second big one, the Crocs Pollex Juniper sneaker released last year. 4 different colorways. First came out in that guava colorway, but then there was also Tahini, which is the white one. There was the blue one, which is the blue one, and there's the green one, which is the green one. Sorry, I did not learn all the names here, but ladies and gentlemen, the first sneaker Crocs has done. Salehe made them do it. It's a banger sneaker. It's such a good sneaker. Heavy as hell.
It looked good.
If you were trying to like kill a roach on the floor, you would kill that roach's descendants if you smacked it with this thing. You would Thanos snap it into oblivion. That sole is so heavy.
The reverberation into the universe.
Yeah. So I love these. I have not loved all the colorways of these. Guava has grown on me a little bit more. The first pink one, the other two, the green and the blue one, just a little too out there for me. But I do have the Tahinis, and I've said it a lot before, but I'll say it one more time very quickly. I like that the colorway is plain so that then the wild design elements can be the thing about the shoe. Like it's just, you get to have that crazy outsole wrapping up to the midsole be so much of the focal point rather than like slamming it with 5 different colors. Personally a big fan of these. If I had to go out on a limb, this is the one that you feel like you're going to have to talk me down on. I yield some time.
I think so. I don't think by much though.
How high do you think I want to go?
S.
I don't want to go S.
Oh, well then may not have to talk down at all because I want an 8.
Okay. I should have said I wanted S. I could have got peace. I could have got saved me the time. No. Okay. Yeah.
He played his hand. I love that green colorway. Just because I love, like you said, that outsole reaching out to the midsole. I think you get more depth with that green colorway.
With the orange underneath the outsole.
And this one right here. There you go. Yeah. Where it's kind of like the dark gray or black with that orange coming through. I really, really like it. I don't understand why this shoe is so heavy. Crocs are unbelievably light. The shoe itself, exactly. The shoe itself looks like it's made of nothing.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, this is something that Salehe was like, Crocs does shoes now. Which is like, oh,
he just walked in the boardroom and said it. He was like, hey, we're doing shoes now, by the way. And they were like, oh, I guess.
Yeah. And they were like, our stock prices have never been higher. So whatever you want. So yeah, I like these at A tier. I like these at A tier.
I love these and the clogs personally pretty equally, and I wear them both pretty regularly. But I think to ignore the fact that the clogs set the whole thing off and deserve to be a notch higher, I think that'd be a little silly. All right. Fair.
Perfect timing.
Whew. Moving on. New Balance 530 Prosperity Be the Prize. These are like the really, really greenish, yellowish ones, which in some of the images looked a little bit more pale green than some of these look like very highlighter
Vaulted.
Yellow. What did you say? Vault. Yeah. The bamboo box. Come on. The man knows how to. If you don't like the shoe, the band knows how to do a box. What?
No.
What? Because you don't like the box?
What? The shoe is a highlighter yellow. What is that? What is bamboo doing there?
I think in that one image. Hang on. Let's let it. I'm willing to let the time roll because we got time here. Let the image.
We do have time.
Let the image load before anyone jumps to judgments here. It's a little bit paler. It's not as green as the bamboo on the box, but it's not as highlighter in those.
It's
so
not
the
as
images
highlighter.
are a little different.
Okay.
I put the episode together pretty quickly, everyone. You don't all know what happened today, but we were on a crunch timeline. Anyways, they did the first release of these, maybe the only release of these. Like, I think these were in Europe at some shop and they were just giving them away. I think they might have done like 530 pairs, something like limited.
Yeah, you would have to just give these away.
All right. I do not love this colorway. The 530 silhouette, I don't dislike that much. I don't think it's a bad silhouette.
No, good silhouette.
This colorway, as opposed to some of the other all solid colors, are like predominantly one color silhouettes, are a little outside of my comfort. These are like, no, I'm not uncomfortable with that. I do not want that. That's like a firm, I do not want that.
Yeah, I just don't want it.
So I don't know. For me, I'm fine with these lower on the list.
Yeah. I feel like these are a D tier.
I could have gone D or E. It's tough because like the ANTA shoe, I just dislike it so much. And the thing about this is like, I also dislike
the silhouette.
Yeah, but it's tough because it's like, I think with ANTA, he designed more of the silhouette, whereas this, like, he didn't design the 530, you know? So that's a little bit of a thing. D tier is fine by me.
Yeah. And I guess also with this one, I'm like, other than being like, it's the color palette of Salehe Bembury, I don't necessarily see Salehe Bembury on here, you know? Like,
he's on there.
Again,
he's on there.
It's kind of the... to me, with saying that Salehe's thing with New Balance is the colorway is the same thing of like, okay, Travis Scott's thing with the Nike is brown.
That is his thing, though.
You know, but I'm also just like, that to me doesn't make the shoe exhilarating just because it's different shades of brown. That's not
incorrect.
Yeah.
We're on too tight of a crunch for me to think of a counter argument, but you're not totally incorrect.
3 minutes.
I agreed. You don't have to cut me off. I agreed. Don't play the Oscar music on me. End of 2024, the most recent work with Crocs on the Cypress duck boot. Did the campaign with Toro y Moi. Not for me, Thundercat a little bit higher, but we're not factoring that in at all here. Man, if you haven't seen this shoe, I cannot describe it for you. It's a boot. It's a boot. That's a Croc. With the brown and the creed, it's a boot. That's a Croc. I will say the one thing I appreciate is that they did not put the toe holes in here, so I don't know that it's
functional.
I think it's somewhat functional. I don't know how waterproof. That would have been hilarious if they had still kept it.
They still,
the fact that it's got
really good.
The lace loopholes tells me that you can only go so far in the water there. Maybe it's up to the ankles.
Yeah.
Probably up to that first lace loop. I don't know if the canvas is any sort of Gore-Tex or anything. I'm so happy to put these at the bottom of the list.
Cool. Glad. Yeah. This is definitely F tier.
This is wild.
Sure.
It's wild, but it's like, this is the thing that people love about Salehe is like, here's some really weird thing. And it's like, dog, that's awesome that you did that. I do not want it, but that's so cool that you did it, you know?
Yeah. I do love that Crocs was like, all right, let him do the boot. What are we going to do? Tell him no?
We got 3 more years of clogs we got to get out. Just let him do the boot and be happy.
My man is printing us money. Just give him the gate on steppers. Let him live. All right?
I'm so mad you did that while I had water in my mouth. All right.
They said the Mardi Gras is about to happen. How are they going to do the chicken run? It's supposed to rain all day on Mardi Gras. How can they do the chicken run? How can they do their dance?
That brings us to 2025. The most recent release we've had, the New Balance 1500 Growth Be the Tree. Look at the box. It's Joshua Tree. We love Joshua Tree.
This is the shoe, by the way. I just want you to know. This is the one.
Which one? The one that you thought you had to talk me down on?
This one, yeah. Okay,
fair. He did the campaign, Who's the Guy from Workaholics? The long
There's three
hair.
Of them.
The long hair.
Oh, okay, yeah. Not
Blake,
hers, Blake.
Blake is his name, but what's his actual name?
I don't know.
Okay, no one knows. He did the campaign for these. This one we talked about a fair amount when it was announced, that it was like, yeah, I like it because I would wear it, but this is weird for to be Salehe, because you've seen us do the rest of the episode. You've seen everything else on this list. Like, which one of these does not belong? This is the one that does not belong.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, in some of the side shots, the tongue on this looks crazy, and the heel on the shoe looks like a 90-degree, just like there's no curve to the back of it. So I don't know. I have gone back and forth with this one for a while because there's two dogs inside of me. There is I would wear this shoe a lot, and there is this is not Salehe. He couldn't have done this. And I don't know which one to listen to. Baha Man, will you please let him out? Tell me what we're doing here.
Yeah. Am I the Baha Man?
Well,
or at least one of the men?
Yeah, but so you're one of them. I still have publishing rights to where I control where it goes on the list ultimately, but I need some guidance here. Could you start the writing session?
Fair. Okay, so that is very true. I do like the silhouette and the color. To me, this is just very classic New Balance.
Clean.
However, I'm also just like, I see nothing of Salehe with this.
No, Tanner, you're not seeing. You see the midsole, the orange and the purple? That's Salehe. Also on the tongue where it says Salehe. That's Salehe. But also,
he hand stitched every pair.
No, I hope he didn't. You saw the hero shots that had the loose stitching on the toe of them there. I hope Salehe didn't hand stitch them. No, look at the box. It's Joshua Tree.
It's Joshua Tree. I've been there. I've been there.
We gotta figure out the balance between, like, this doesn't seem creative lower on the list, and I want to wear this higher on the list.
That is the
middle
tough part.
Of the list?
We only have 30 seconds. We have 20 seconds, which is really tough. To me, this is C or D. Okay. It makes me want to go C just because I could wear it.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. Okay, the timer on that one. That's the first good use of the timer, ladies and gentlemen. The first appropriate good use of the timer.
First good use. I will say we are approaching the end of this timer. However, we do have like 7 minutes to recap. So.
Perfect. Okay. Last one, and this is the one that we talked about at the beginning, the upcoming release. I think this is on March 13th or 14th. The New Balance 991 V2 Colors Be the Palette. So a predominantly purple shoe with accents of green, yellow, and orange with a little hit of blue on the tongue there. He did the box, ladies and gentlemen. He did the box. See, a lot of time with the box, you can see like what was the inspiration for the starting point. And then the accent colors, you're like, every shoe with the accent colors, I've been like, I wish you hadn't done the accent colors, except for maybe the first one, the orange one, Peace Be the Journey. I feel like the blue kind of hits. What's that? Water Be the Guide, green kind of goes.
Yeah.
But for some, the accent colors on this one, I'm like, man, I kind of wish we had stuck to just different shades of like purples and blues and browns and stuff like that.
Other than the green for the liner, I like the accent colors. I don't know where
I keep looking at it. Yeah,
I don't care for the green.
I think green is the one that feels kind of out of place.
Yeah. Well, who's the purple blob monster from McDonald's?
Grimace.
There you go.
Grimace a darker shade of purple, but Grimace is in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's purple and fuzzy, so
that he is
like a Dots candy that's been rolling around your car for a couple years.
Poor Grimace catching strays on this episode. What is Grimace doing out here in the line of fire?
He was doing some weird stuff with that shake. That's all I remember.
That was a time on social media. I drank the grip shake and I had a seizure and people just, oh man.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. This colorway, it's tough because it's like, it's one of those shoes. It's kind of like the Action Bronson stuff where I'm like, I love this for someone else. Like, I feel like someone else is going to pull this off and like have a great fit to go with this, but I'm just not the guy. It can't be me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's probably a D tier, though. It's probably a D tier. You? Yeah.
Probably a D. It's probably a D tier.
Okay.
I feel like we just had to put down a family dog.
It's probably time. It's not a good quality of life. Neither of us are happy about it. It's like we're both looking for a reason to put this shoe higher on the list. And maybe part of that is the silhouette. It's a good silhouette. And we're both like, I want to camp for this harder. But I keep looking at it like, no, I don't want to wear this.
Sorry.
So there you have it. Before we recap for everyone, you and I, one last look here. Anything we think we want to move other than obviously Sand Be the Time. I know we said earlier in the episode we wanted to move that one higher. So I can take care of that. You don't have to say anything. Other than that one, was there anything else that you wanted to move around? Or within any tier. We normally don't. Do you want to do a high to low within each tier?
Kind of looking. I would say I would probably move around E tier. If we were being,
from like a best to worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we were doing something along
I could take that. Yeah. What about D tier, best to worst?
I would probably take that colorway that we just did, the purple one.
Colors
I would
Be the
probably
palette.
put that. Yeah, Colors Be the I'd probably put that number one. I think of everything in here, I do like that one probably the best.
That one then Yurt?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of like Yurt more. Yurt's tough because it's like silhouette wise, 990 V1 V2, right? A little more wearable than a shoe with a whistle on the back. But some of the colorways of the Yurt, that gray one, we both loved that gray one. So
colorway,
those two I could go kind of back and forth on. Personally, I would like the Clarks more than the Brandblack, but I'm not going to die on that hill. C tier. Okay. What are we thinking?
I kind of like C tier. Where is that?
Throw me a bone. Let me move Vans lower on the list. Not to D tier, but just lower in the C tier.
Okay, switch that with your Sands.
I think you got to give me some wiggle room here.
I'll accept that.
We gotta end the episode at some point, B tier, I like the order of those two.
I like B tier too. And I'll be honest, this might be our best looking like a bell curve of a list we've done.
Well, and we had a lot more, right? We did 16 this time. We normally do 12, I think, maybe even 8. So we had a lot more to actually distribute here. Yeah, this is good. And Mr. Bembury, if I may, if you're looking at this, that's a great distribution. That's a great batting average.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously that's where you want to be statistically.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have your outliers and you're going to have your main market. So to me, I think really great. I'm a big fan of this list. Looking at our splits, we held everything great. We had a total of about 48 minutes.
Yeah.
To talk about this, and we finished at about 43 and a half. Talk about each shoes.
Look at that.
We've been talking about the recap for now 3 minutes. I mean, how much more perfect do you want to get?
Listeners saying, why don't you guys do this every tier list? Hey, we're working on it. We're only 7 years in, okay? We're still trying to figure this whole thing out. All right, so for audio listeners, quick recap. Moving from S tier to F tier. In S tier, one shoe, the Crocs Pollex Clog. A tier, one shoe, the Crocs Pollex Juniper. B tier, two shoes, 2002R Peace Be the Journey, and the Moncler Genius Trail Grip. C tier, 4 shoes, 2002R Water Be the Guide, 990 V2 Sand Be the Time, the Vans Authentic, and the 1500 Growth Be the Tree. D tier, 5 shoes, 991 V2 Colors Be the Palette, the 574 Yurt, the Brandblack collaboration, the Clarks collaboration, the New Balance 530 Prosperity be the prize. E tier, 2 shoes. The New Balance 1906R Heat Be Hot. The ANTA SB01 and SB02. And down in lonely F tier, the Crocs Cypress Duck Boot. There you have it, everyone. The definitive tier list ranking of every Salehe Bembury sneaker that released since 2020 that you know about that actually matters. Done by the boys over at Shoe Podcast. If you disagree with anything, leave a comment down below and let us know what needs to move where. I already know. Let's not go crazy. Everyone saying, guys, Sam Be the Time needs to be higher on the list. I know that. Tanner doesn't. So just be easy on him in the comments. When you say it, word it kindly. Word it in a constructive criticism way. Because it's going to be the overwhelming majority of opinions. Yeah, all lowercase. He's a sensitive guy when he reads the comments.
I am. Here's the thing. The only poll I want to do is, do these shoes lower with a plain box? That's the only poll.
Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions you don't want to know. Thank you, everyone, for checking out another episode of Shoe Podcast. You can find us online at shoepodcast.com or on social media at Shoe Podcast, everywhere except for where we're not. If you watch the show on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you listened on your favorite podcast platform, make sure you're following the show so you know when new episodes come out. And lastly, if you want to continue the conversation with us and fans of the show, you can do so at our Discord linked in the episode description down below. Tanner, before we go, you got anything you want to leave the people with?
If you were to be a kitchen appliance, what kitchen appliance would you be?
There you go. I love this series that we're doing this season.
Yeah.
A conversation starter.
Funky.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're in therapy getting right, you hit your therapist with that one and see what they say.
You turn the tables on them?
Exactly.
You asked for 50% of the copay back. You said, well, really, we both did a lot of talking in there. You know, we both were asking questions.
Exactly. And all tea, all shade. Do you see how both co-hosts just used a plural singular? It's that easy.
There you have it, everybody. One last time, I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
I'm your co-host, Tanner Young.
We will be back next week with a friend on the show, a very special guest, someone we've been wanting to talk to for a while now, who we finally got in the chair. Assumedly, we haven't recorded it yet, but by the time this episode comes out, we should have done it. And next week it should be out. If you see us talking about something else next week and you made it this far in this episode,
zip it.
Leave the comment and say what happened. That's how we will know you listened this far into this episode. On next week's, you say what happened. That's your clue. That's your insider clue.
Exactly. Wow.
Thank you, everyone, for checking out another episode of Shoe Podcast. We'll catch you all next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.